Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. Going to have a look at the weather next week, 10 days for today's video. It's going to take us to around the 7th of March and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the extended GFS and the ECM ensembles, which go to around a couple of weeks. So we've got this really warm spell of weather at the moment, pretty historic spell of weather as well. More on that very shortly. If you enjoy your winter weather, warm and dry, make the most of the next few days because it looks like big changes are on the way for the weekend and then into next week as weather becomes much more unsettled and also quite a lot cooler as well. There's no sign of anything really cold coming up, but certainly you will notice a drop in temperature from these abnormally high temperatures that we've got at the moment back to where temperatures should be at the end of February and into March. So all in all, big changes on the way, but before that, got a few more days of this winter heat wave to go. And I'll get over the detail for you. But shortly, just say that Terry Scully's spring forecast will be coming up at Gazwa this evening, be around 7 o'clock, so that should be quite an interesting read. Got a couple of pictures to start off with. So this was sent through over the weekend by Mark Kanish up in the Wirral, a pretty foggy scene up there, some dense fog. I know a lot of people have been experiencing fog over the past few nights and mornings, but rapidly burning off to reveal glorious sunshine by mid-morning, and those conditions have taken us through into the afternoon. This one was sent through by Kieran Bushnell. This is showing sunshine over the weekend at Witney down in Oxfordshire. Glorious sunshine there. Kieran was reporting that temperatures were up to 17 degrees down there in Witney over the weekend. In total contrast, though, to this point last year. So this was also sent through by Kieran Bushnell, and this is from exactly the same place, around exactly the same time last year. So again, this is Witney in Oxfordshire, and covered in snow, pretty deep snow as well, frozen, snow-covered landscape, and what a difference a year makes between last year's beast from the east and this year's now record-breaking spell of warm, summer-like weather in February. So this is what was happening on this day last year in terms of the synoptic weather pattern. This is from the archive at westcentral.d. This is from the 24th of February last year. I did weekend forecast on the 24th of February last year. I had a review of that last night and posted it back up onto Gazwa's Facebook and Twitter pages. So it's the most watched weekend forecast up to now, anyway, that we've ever done. Over 5,000 video views, and hardly a surprise because we was on the cusp of the beast from the east. So that's how the synoptics were looking on the 24th of February. This big area of high pressure up over Scandinavia, already turning the wind into the east. Not particularly cold though. The upper air temperatures show where the cold temperatures were, and they were across eastern and northern parts of Europe, severely cold there, but we wasn't too cold on the 24th of February. But as we go through to the 25th, we find that that cold air gets closer to us as the high pressure intensifies and starts to bring in those easterly winds. That's the upper air temperatures for the 25th of February 2018. Minus 10 ice therm is on the doorstep. It's knocking on the door of the North Sea and the East Coast. And then the next day, as we go through to the 26th of February, that's when the beast from the east was unleashed. And here come those easterly winds with 1,050 millibar area of high pressure over Scandinavia, draining bitterly cold air out of the east. Look at the upper air temperatures, and minus 10 Celsius ice has pushed through the country, and then things just got colder and colder as the week progressed. So it became progressively more severe, and more snow piling in from the east. Those are the upper air temperatures for Wednesday, the 26th of February. The minus 15 Celsius ice therm is pushing through the country. It's even colder than that in the east, below minus 15 at 850 HPA, severely cold air, and bringing a lot of snow with it. Look at the synoptic pressure chart. That's a real classic. High pressure from Scandinavia over to Greenland, bring in those bitterly cold, up to gale force easterly winds, and temperatures were sub-zero day and night on the final day of February 2018. 1st of March was the coldest 1st of March, the coldest March day, and the coldest spring day on record. Some places didn't see temperatures above -3. One place specifically didn't get above -5 all day on the 1st of March 2018 with that gale force easterly wind, and this area of low pressure brought a blizzard to southwestern parts of the country and severe freezing rain as well. But then that was pretty much the end of the beast from the east, so it's only a short sharp shock as the area of low pressure then starts to drift northwards, taking snow northwards with it, but also cutting off that supply of that severely cold air from the east. So as we go into the first weekend of March 2018, 3rd and 4th, see the low pressure is pushing northwards and it's dragging up milder air or less cold air from the Atlantic with a rapid thaw of snow and ice taking place. So it was only a short, sharp beast from the east, but it was and remains very memorable indeed. This time last year, severely cold air and the beast from the east about to be unleashed. Well, what a difference a year makes, because we have now recorded the warmest February day on record. This confirmed by the UK Met Office very shortly, around an hour or so ago. I recorded this video already, actually, and I've had to do it again because the information changed as the UK Met confirmed this new maximum temperature record. So, UK Met Office tweeted that it's reached 20.3 Celsius at, now I'm not sure how to pronounce this, so if anybody knows how you pronounce this, do let me know through the comments. It looks like it's Trorsgård, but if that's right, if that's wrong, then sorry to anybody who's living there, please let me know how you pronounce that. It looks like it's Trorsgård to me, but I may be wrong. And that's in Cardagion, making it the UK's warmest February day on record. It's also the first time we've recorded over 20 degrees Celsius in the winter. So, incredible spell of weather, of course. Total contrast to what was happening this time last year. It beats 19.7, which was the UK's warmest February day on record, set back in 1998. So that temperature record existed for 21 years, but it's gone. And it has been a little bit smashed as well, you have to say. 20.3 from 19.7 is quite a rise from 19.7 to 20.3. So it's done it fairly easily as well. We've been on the cusp of record-breaking conditions for the past week or so, and there we go, we've done it. We've got a new UK February temperature record confirmed by the UK Met. This is how temperatures are looking right now from xcweather.co.uk. Very warm afternoon out there. The UK bathed in those yellow and orange colours. So let's have a look at where those temperatures are flashing away. So we've got 20 degrees by looking in two areas now. So this one just here, that's Trorsgård, of course, if I'm right on how I'm pronouncing that. So there's 20 degrees over there in Wales. There is also 20 degrees flashing away just here. So let's see if we can find the station. Northolt is also up to 20 degrees. So we've got two stations there that have recorded 20 degrees Celsius this afternoon. Quite incredible what's happening out there this afternoon. It's a warm afternoon across the whole country as well. Church Lawford is up to 16 degrees. Lakenheath Royal Air Force Base up to 17 degrees. Wittering is at 17 degrees. London Heathrow, for once, not taking the record. Heathrow normally takes the record in these situations, but not today. They're at 18 degrees. Let's see if we can find Gravesend. That often takes the record as well. So Headcorn Aerodrome is at 19 degrees. Not sure where we can find Gravesend. So it's there somewhere, but I can't find the exact station. But they often take the temperature record as well. Temperature records over in Gravesend. So Shoreham is only at 13 degrees though, down on the south coast. Maybe there's some mist and low cloud going on there. Anyway, really warm afternoon out there. Further north, it's not as warm. Strathallan in Scotland is at 15. We're going further north to Aviemore at just 13 degrees. Atnahara at 10. So the warmth is down in the south today rather than being further north as it has been through past few days. It's down across Wales and down across England as well. Exceptionally warm, we can now say record-breakingly warm temperatures with this spell of weather. And so the central temperature is increasing ever more. So we're currently sitting at 6.6 with the central temperature, an anomaly of 2.9 degrees, only 3 degrees above average provisional, up to the 24th, up to yesterday of February. And that's going to go up even more. So I think we will get to 7 degrees with the CET. Around 7.0 is where I anticipate we'll finish up. Might be a little bit on either side of that, but I think it'll be around a 7 Celsius finish for this February, which is fairly remarkable considering we started off really cold for the first day of the month. Remember, it was the coldest 1st of February since around 2009. So coldest 1st of February for 10 years. But nevertheless, we're going to finish up over 3 degrees above average, and we're going to have a 7 Celsius finish. Warmest February looks likely since 2002. That CT is going to carry on increasing through the rest of the week. But as I said at the start of the video, if you like your winter weather warm and dry, then make the most of it, because look at this, all change in the 7 to 10 day time frame. So these are the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from the Penn State University. We've got the ECMWF on the top, and the GFS, which we'll have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars is an area in the active high pressure, low pressure being moved around by the jet stream. And blue is extrapolating to below average heights, which is low pressure. Yellow, orange and red extrapolating to above average heights, which is high pressure. And look what the ECM is doing in the 7 to 10 day time frame. Big area of below average heights over and to the west of the UK. Black lines indicating the jet stream. They're tightly packed, so a strong jet stream coming across the Atlantic into the UK and into Europe too. That's a huge change on what we've had over the past month. That is low pressure back in control big time. The Atlantic strikes back, and that will be bringing bouts of heavy rain across the country, and probably at times some pretty strong winds too. It's also a lot cooler. It's not particularly cold. We're not bringing the wind in from a northerly direction, from an Arctic or northerly source, but it would see the temperatures going back to average, possibly even a little bit below average. And just compared to the abnormally warm weather we've had recently, it would be a very, very big change indeed, both to the feel of the weather and also the actual weather we're experiencing. The GFS is very similar, not quite as deep with that trough of low pressure as the ECM, but nevertheless it's in the same ballpark. It's got that big area of low pressure over to the west of the UK, got a strong jet stream coming across the Atlantic, so it looks a lot cooler and a lot more unsettled in the 7 to 10 day time frame, and that's taking us into the first week of March, of course. And this is all confirmed by the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. We're looking at Penzance, down in the far southwestern tip of the country today. So this is another suggested location on our list of suggested locations for this section of the video. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Penzance. We're starting off really warm at the moment. Look at that, 10 Celsius at 850 HPA. This time last year, we was between minus 10 and minus 15 Celsius at 850 HPA. So we was down here, right on the floor of the chart, as it's depicted now. But again, huge contrast from this time last year to now. That's where we are now anyway. Really, really warm. Kind of like the upper air temperatures you'd expect to see in June or July. And just very warm conditions lasting for the next couple of days. But from around Wednesday onwards, we get this gradual drop in the temperature taking place. It's a very slow change. It's not going to happen quickly or dramatically. Sometimes you can drop the temperature very dramatically. Other times you will just gradually decrease the temperature day by day. That's what we're going to have this time. So just around Wednesday, Thursday onwards, day by day, we'll shave off a couple of degrees of the temperature. So by the time we get through to the weekend, which is this period just here, we're back close to average. Probably still a bit milder than average, if anything, but back much closer to average by weekend. And by next week, dates are on the bottom of the chart, of course. By the time you get through to next week, actually the temperature has returned to average, possibly even a little bit cooler than average. Several of these ensembles through the course of next week. Again, it's this period just here and going up to the middle of the month. Several of them look like they're underneath a red line, look like they're on the cooler than average side. There's a lot of up and down going on. It's an unsettled spell, so you're bringing in warmer and cooler sectors, but I think overall perhaps a little bit on the cooler than average side with the upper air temperatures from next week through to middle of the month. And also the big story, of course, of the temperature is going to be a return of bands of rain. So you can't have failed to have noticed those precipitation spikes. We have about 4 more days of pretty dry weather coming up, but from around Friday and then into next weekend, slowly the precipitation spikes are coming back. Next week looks wet, actually potentially very wet next week, with large precipitation spikes in evidence. Bear in mind, this is for Penzance, so it's right in the southwestern tip of the country. It's exposed to the Atlantic. It will be one of the places in the UK that gets bands of rain off the Atlantic before anybody else. So if we're looking at somewhere like London or Norwich, you would have a much drier ensemble than that is showing. But it would still be unsettled, just that the bands of rain kind of like weaken as they push from west to east across the country. So won't be as wet as that for most of us, but nevertheless it is still the suggestion that a big change in the weather pattern is coming. Going to turn a lot cooler and a lot more unsettled as well after this record-breaking spell of dry and warm weather. Temperature anomalies from the 25th of February to the 5th of March, milder than average. It remains above average in the week ahead. Any change to cooler conditions is only from the weekend onwards, so for the next few days we've still got plenty of this record-breaking heat to go. Precipitation anomalies from the 25th of February to the 5th of March, still on the drier than average side. Expect these charts, these anomaly charts, to trend both cooler and wetter in the week ahead, and we'll be keeping a very close eye on them in the next few days, of course. Right, so this is how the GFS 6 o'clock run is looking. High pressure still clinging on Thursday. It is changing its position though, it's moving southwards, so already by Thursday we'll be starting to shave off a couple of degrees off the temperature, but it will still be generally very mild, perhaps even warm. And there'll still be a fair amount of dry weather around. There could be a few showers breaking out as the pressure just generally leaks away and sort of starts to, we start to deflate that high pressure. But generally still a lot of dry weather around to the end of the week. It's from Friday to Saturday when we bring this first weather system in across the country that the change starts to take place. That first system, Friday to Saturday, will probably be quite weak. It'll probably be, bring fairly heavyish rain into west. But as that moves across the country, I suspect it will weaker, but it'll open the door then to the Atlantic, and so from Sunday onwards, that's when we bring proper low pressure in from off the Atlantic, and then we go through to next week. It turns increasingly unsettled, low pressure diving in from off the Atlantic, bringing showers along the spells of rain, and the jet streams move southwards as well, so on the cool side of the jet just about, and we bring these low pressures in, so it'll be a lot cooler, it'll be a lot more unsettled as well. Not particularly cold, I have to keep re-emphasising this. There's no sign of anything desperately cold moving in from either the north or from the east. It's just the fact that we've had it so very warm over the past couple of weeks that the drop in temperature back to average will be quite a shock to the system. It remains very unsettled into the extended range with the GFS 6 o'clock run as well. This is Friday 8th of March. Got a bit of southerly tracking low there, so that could bring heavy rain to England and Wales. On the northern edge of that, you wouldn't rule out some snow across parts of North Wales and northern England. Into the second week of March, low pressure keeps diving in off the Atlantic. That's a bit of a cold snap showing up there with winds from the north. Doesn't last long before the next low pressure is rattling through. So all in all, these are very, very different charts for March compared to what we've had through particularly the second half of February. It's back to low pressure and it's back to the Atlantic Ocean. This is a parallel GFS run, so again we find the change beginning to take place at the end of the week. High pressure still holding on just about Thursday, Friday, but by Saturday into Sunday, low pressure is breaking through, turning us much more unsettled, and temperatures returning to average as well. Into next week stays unsettled. That's a bit of a cold snap on Tuesday next week as winds turn into the north briefly before the next low pressures bring heavy rain and potentially gale force winds up to day 10, which is Thursday the 7th of March. Stays unsettled into the extended range too. Low pressure continues to be battering us from off the Atlantic. So a little bit of an Atlantic onslaught there through the first half of March, both on the GFS operational and GFS parallel runs. ECMWF again has that high pressure just holding on by its fingertips on Thursday and Friday, gradually being weakened though, and as we go into the weekend, that's when we get the change. Low pressure heads in from off the Atlantic, bringing a big change in the weather pattern, bouts of rain and strong winds too, taking us through into next week. And next week looks very unsettled as these areas of low pressure are pushing through the country from the Atlantic. That's how we finish up at day 10. 30% of March has a 960, maybe 955 millibar area of low pressures out to the west of Scotland. So very low pressure and bouts of heavy rain and strong winds are moving in across the country as well. Temperatures are back to average, which will be quite a shock. And that is very well supported within the ECM ensembles today. So these are how the ECM ensembles are looking through the postage stamps at the Icelandic Met Office. So these are the scenarios, or it's only one scenario actually, for day 10, 7th of March. And we've got 51, that's 100% of ensemble members, including the operational and control ECM run, that have this big area of low pressure over into west of the UK, and they're bringing in the westerly winds and the jet stream like that. So they're unleashing the Atlantic. And so we can say that at day 10, this scenario that the ECM operational run is showing, with that deep low to west of Scotland, that is incredibly well supported at day 10 by the ECM ensembles. So it looks like we've got really good agreement for things to be much, much more unsettled by day 10, by the 7th of March. And this goes on into the extended range as well. So the ECM ensembles go to 368 hours away, which is the 12th of March, takes us to the 12th of March. And look at this, still 51, which is 100% of ECM ensemble members, has low pressure, deep trough centred over the top of the UK. The jet stream's down there, so we are on the cool side of the jet. We look very unsettled and much, much cooler as we're going into the second week of March as well. Big, big changes ahead. Finally, CFS V2, so these are the 500 millibar heights broken down into weekly periods. The first week period will take us from the 25th of February to the 3rd of March, with above average heights centred over the UK and most parts of Europe, low pressure out in the Atlantic. The jet stream is being pushed off to our north, so we remain under the ridge for the next few days. Dry, warm, fine conditions continue at least to the end of this week. Do make the most of it if that's what you want out of your winter weather, because as we go through to week 2, which is the 4th to the 10th of March, the high pressure is declining, it's collapsing, it's moving into eastern and southeastern parts of Europe as low pressure develops in the Atlantic and starts to bring the jet stream southwards with it. So we turn cooler and we turn more unsettled from the 4th to the 10th of March. Then week 3 looks very unsettled. This is the 11th to the 17th of March, with a trough of low pressure centred over the top of the UK. So that obviously is bringing the jet stream southwards with it, and we can expect very unsettled conditions to be taking place there. However, as we go through to week 4, which is the 18th to 24th of March, just a suggestion that the ridge starts to reassert itself over to the east of us and ridging through the country as well, which starts to push the jet stream back northwards. So if that's right, the second half of March sees a return of dry and warm conditions potentially. Temperature anomalies in the week ahead from the 25th of February to the 3rd of March, much, much warmer than average, substantially warmer than average in week ahead, and still much milder than average in week 2. This is when we're changing to a more unsettled pattern. But as we saw with the ensemble graph, it's only a slow decline in the temperature. So actually from the 4th to the 10th of March, the CFS still wants to have us quite significantly milder than average. By week 3, temperatures have gone back to normal, so we are much, much closer to average in week 3 from the 11th to the 17th of March. Then week 4 starts to see the temperature picking back up again as the high pressure just begins to reassert itself over and to the east of the country. Precipitation anomalies finally, the week ahead is very dry, significantly warmer, drier than average. But week 2, which is the 4th to the 10th of March, goes much wetter than average, a complete flip around with the precipitation from weeks 1 to week 2. We go through to week 3, that is the 11th to 17th of March, and it's much wetter than average again. We finish up close to average in week 4, which is the 18th, 24th of March. I suspect that would actually go dry than average as that ridge builds back in from the south and from the east too. So, dramatic developments on the way. We've got a new February temperature record, which we have achieved today. It's not out of a question. That record might only stand for a day and it might go tomorrow. So we'll keep a close eye on that. It's not out of question. We could set a new record tomorrow. Then we go through to the rest of this week. Temperatures gradually declining in the second half of the week. Not a quick process, but slowly the temperature lowers. By the weekend, we're back much closer to average with temperatures, and it's turning a lot more unsettled too. And then next week, the Atlantic looks like it's back big time. So showers along with spells of rain and temperatures back where you'd expect them to be in early March, which will be quite a shock after all of this warm weather I've been experiencing over the past week or two. We'll be keeping you updated on all of the developments, of course, over the next few days. So keep checking back to all of the videos. Got Terry Scully's spring forecast tonight, so come back to that then. That's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.